Surpass yourself. Master your mind and become stronger. Brian Tracy. Have you ever had the feeling that your mind is like a whirlwind, full of thoughts that come and go without control, often pulling you into doubts, fears, and uncertainties? If so, you're not alone. Most people live hostage to their own minds, without realizing that the true power to transform their lives is right in front of them. Brian Tracy, one of the greatest experts in personal development, teaches us that mastering the mind is the first step to building a life of strength, purpose, and achievements. But here's a truth you may have never heard. The problem isn't a lack of skills or opportunities. It's what's going on inside your head. What's more, the secret is not in silencing all negative thoughts, but in learning to channel them into something productive. Does it seem impossible? It is not. Believe me, you have much more control over your mind than you realize. And when you discover this, your life will never be the same. In this guide, we'll explore how the mind works and, more importantly, how you can train it to work for you. From simple techniques for shifting your focus to practical strategies that top leaders like Brian Tracy use daily, you'll see that being stronger and more focused isn't a matter of luck, it's a matter of practice. And the best part, it starts now with you. So if you're tired of feeling stuck in cycles of self-sabotage, or just want to take your life to the next level, get ready. Because what you're about to learn isn't just knowledge. It's the key to a transformation that few people have the courage to pursue. The human mind is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most powerful tool we have at our disposal. Have you ever stopped to think that, in a single day, you have around 70,000 thoughts? Now imagine, each of these thoughts can be a stepping stone to success or a stumbling block on your path. It's almost like having a mental bank account where positive thoughts are deposits and negative thoughts are withdrawals. Brian Tracy, for example, highlights that our thoughts directly determine our actions and, consequently, our results. What are you depositing in your mental bank right now? We often underestimate the impact of what we think. Have you ever had a day when everything seemed to go wrong, as if the universe was conspiring against you? The truth is that, in large part, it was your thoughts that created this reality. When the mind focuses on the problem, it amplifies it. A simple example. While driving, if you become obsessed with not hitting the pole, guess what? The post becomes the center of your focus. Replace this with a clear, positive goal, such as arrive safely at your destination. Small changes like this transform the entire journey. The brain is also a true architect of what we call destiny. Imagine a person who constantly thinks about failure. It attracts failure because it acts based on this fear, even if unconsciously. Brian Tracy reinforces this by saying that the quality of our thoughts defines the quality of our life. Do you want to change your life? Start by changing your thoughts. A practical strategy: set aside 5 minutes every day to visualize success. Imagine yourself achieving something you want. It could be a job, a trip, or even overcoming a personal challenge. Now, you may ask yourself, but how do you control 70,000 thoughts? You don't need to control them all, but choose the ones that have the biggest impact. Select those who nurture your confidence and ignore saboteurs. A powerful example: while studying or working, instead of mentally repeating, "I can't do this," tell yourself, "I'm learning and improving with every step." This subtle, almost imperceptible change reprograms your mind for success. The mind is like a supercomputer, but without a good program, it crashes. Here comes what Brian Tracy defends so much: the importance of feeding the mind with good content. Read inspiring books such as The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, or watch talks that elevate your energy. Also consider surrounding yourself with people who drive your dreams forward. Who you choose to listen to directly influences the thoughts you cultivate. Another crucial point is the power of repetition. What you often think, you become. Think about the habit of waking up and saying, "Today is going to be a great day." This seems silly, right? But it works. Try this for a week and notice how your mood changes. Brian Tracy reminds us that what we repeat to ourselves shapes our subconscious. How about starting right now? And so, every small adjustment in your mental pattern turns into a big step towards total control of your life. But how can we maintain this constancy in a world so full of distractions and negative emotions? This is where the next point comes in, the importance of mental control. Controlling the mind is perhaps one of the most underrated skills, but also one of the most transformative ones that someone can develop. Think about it. The mind is like a wild horse. Without reins, she runs wherever she wants, often to dark places full of doubts. But with control, it becomes a powerful tool, capable of leading you to any destination you desire. Brian Tracy, with his practical wisdom, has always highlighted that without mental discipline, we lose focus, clarity, and consequently direction. So how are you controlling your inner horse? How many times have you let yourself be carried away by a spiral of negative thoughts? Perhaps when receiving criticism at work, or even when facing an unexpected everyday event, such as a flat tire. These moments show how the lack of mental control dominates us. Imagine someone who, upon hearing a critical comment, spends the day dwelling on it, leaving important tasks aside. On the other hand, a person with mind control processes the criticism, decides what they can learn from it, and moves on. This is the kind of discipline we need to cultivate. Mind control begins with awareness. The simple act of realizing what is going through your head is a big step. When you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," or "this is too hard for me," stop. Ask yourself, is this really the truth, or just fear speaking loudly? An interesting technique that Brian Tracy often mentions is reframing. Turn limiting thoughts into powerful questions. For example, how can I learn something valuable from this situation? This change opens doors instead of closing them. Another point is not to let uncontrolled emotions take the wheel. Anger, anxiety, fear. All of these feelings play an important role, but they need to be managed. A good example is the professional athlete. He feels the pressure before a competition, but doesn't let nerves paralyze him. On the contrary, it uses the energy of emotion to its advantage. You can do the same in everyday situations. Before a presentation, instead of thinking, "I'm nervous, this isn't going to work," say, "I'm excited, I'm prepared, and I'm going to do my best." This small adjustment is revolutionary. A simple and effective practice is meditation. Before you turn up your nose and say, "It's not for me," understand that meditating doesn't have to be complicated. Take 2 minutes to close your eyes, breathe deeply, and observe your thoughts. This break, however small it may seem, is like hitting the reset button in the middle of a chaotic day. Even Brian Tracy recommends taking a few minutes a day to reflect and organize your ideas. You can start now. Set an alarm on your phone for a mental clarity break. Remember, mind control is not about suppressing negative thoughts, but rather learning to direct them. It's like turning a storm into a river that flows in the right direction. The more you practice, the easier it will be to deal with unexpected situations without losing your balance. This is what differentiates those who react impulsively from those who act strategically. Now, you may be asking yourself, but how can you cultivate this control every day without giving up? This is where the mental garden analogy comes in, a concept that shows how our mind needs constant care to flourish. The human mind is like a garden, and the thoughts we cultivate are the seeds we plant. If you neglect the garden, weeds, negative thoughts will take over and choke out everything that could flourish. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to become consumed by worry, criticism, or even fear? Brian Tracy teaches us that success is not something that is achieved by chance. It is cultivated, watered, and cared for daily, like a thriving garden. Imagine that you decide to plant a flower garden, but fail to water it or remove the weeds. Within days, what was supposed to be a vibrant landscape becomes a chaos of withered plants and unwanted weeds. This is the mind. Every negative thought you ignore is a weed that grows out of control. To avoid this, it is essential to take care of what goes into your head. Avoid sensationalist news, toxic comments, and even exaggerated self-critical thoughts. Replace all of this with inspiring readings, meaningful conversations, and moments of reflection. A practical strategy is to do a mental cleanse at the end of the day. Take 5 minutes to review what happened and identify any weeds that may have emerged. If you realize that you have been dwelling on something negative, write about it, reflect, and if possible, resolve it. It's like removing the weeds from the garden before they spread. Brian Tracy suggests that the habit of self-evaluation is one of the pillars of success because it keeps your mind clear and ready for new ideas. But it's not enough to eliminate bad thoughts. An empty garden is not a garden. It needs life, color, and purpose. This means planting seeds of positive and productive thoughts. For example, instead of worrying about what could go wrong with a project, focus on what you can do to ensure it goes well. Replace phrases like, "I can never do it," with "I'm learning and getting better every day." These seeds, when cultivated, turn into vibrant flowers that adorn your life. Did you know that the most powerful seeds are affirmations? Try starting the day with phrases like, "I am resilient and capable," or "Today will be a day of growth." They may seem too simple, but like small seeds, they have a huge impact over time. Brian Tracy emphasizes that the power of the words we choose to use, including internally, defines our emotional and mental state. Why not try planting these affirmations in your mental garden? The secret to maintaining a healthy garden is not just discipline, but also consistency. Remember, you don't have to grow the biggest garden in the world all at once. Start small. Select one area of your life to focus on, such as your finances, health, or relationships, and take care of it carefully. Water it with good practices. Remove the weeds and celebrate each flower that grows. This gradual approach is much more sustainable and rewarding. And when your garden begins to bloom, you'll realize something extraordinary. The mental discipline that keeps you healthy doesn't limit your freedom. On the contrary, it expands your possibilities, allowing you to live in a focused and harmonious way. But how exactly does discipline connect to freedom? This is the next secret we will reveal. There are those who think that discipline is synonymous with restriction, limiting oneself, giving up pleasures and spontaneity. However, this view is far from true. Discipline, in reality, is the bridge to true freedom. Does it seem paradoxical? Brian Tracy explains that by mastering our actions and thoughts, we free ourselves from chaos and impulsive decisions, gaining control over life. Imagine living adrift, without focus, without planning. It looks like freedom, but it's actually a prison in disguise. Think of a musician who wants to improvise during a performance. He can only do this masterfully because he spent years practicing, mastering the scales and techniques. His creative freedom was born from discipline. Likewise, in our lives, the more structured our habits and thoughts are, the greater our ability to act autonomously. Do you want more free time? Establish organized routines. Want more money? Discipline your spending. It is the discipline that creates space for the freedom we so desire. Mental discipline also prevents us from getting lost in unnecessary decisions. Consider, for example, someone who spends hours deciding what to wear or what to eat. This consumes mental energy that could be used on something more important. A practical solution is to simplify. Steve Jobs, famous for always wearing the same style of clothing, adopted this strategy to save his focus for more significant decisions. Brian Tracy often highlights that clarity of purpose comes from eliminating the superfluous. Another benefit of discipline is the ability to avoid emotional traps. When you are mentally disciplined, you do not react impulsively to provocations or criticism. Imagine a professional who receives negative feedback in a meeting. Without discipline, he can defend himself aggressively, compromising his image. But with self-control, he listens, reflects, and responds in a balanced way. This approach not only strengthens relationships, but also projects trust and maturity. If you think discipline is a burden, try seeing it as an investment. It's like planting a tree. The initial work may seem difficult, but the fruits and shade it offers are infinitely worth it. Set aside time each day for practices that reinforce your discipline, such as keeping a clear to-do list or reviewing your goals weekly. Brian Tracy suggests that even 5 minutes a day dedicated to planning can avoid hours wasted in clutter and uncertainty. The freedom provided by discipline is also reflected in the way you see opportunities. Without discipline, it's easy to get lost in distractions or give up at the first difficulties. With it, you develop a long-term vision, which allows you to see beyond the immediate. For example, by saving money now, you open up possibilities to invest in something bigger in the future. Small disciplined acts, when accumulated, generate big results. But you may wonder, how do I build this discipline without feeling like I'm imprisoning myself? That's where practical tools come in that make the process lighter, almost automatic. And it is these tools that we will explore next. When we talk about building mental discipline, it can seem grand and even scary. But the truth is that the most effective tools for this are incredibly simple and can be incorporated into your daily life without any complications. Brian Tracy always emphasizes the importance of small, consistent habits to achieve big results. It's not about changing your life all at once, but about adjusting course, one step at a time. Let's explore some practices that can transform your mind. One of the simplest yet powerful methods is the 5-minute daily focus. Take a moment in the morning to set your main intention for the day. Ask yourself, what is the one thing that, if I accomplish today, will make my day worthwhile? This not only organizes your mind, but also prevents you from getting lost in irrelevant tasks. Imagine the difference between starting the day like a boat adrift or like a captain who knows exactly where he's going. This practice is like the GPS of your mind. Another practical tool is self-observation. During the day, dedicate moments to check your thoughts. Ask yourself, is what I'm thinking right now helping or hurting me? This simple question has the power to interrupt negative thought cycles. For example, if you find yourself worrying about something you can't control, redirect your focus to productive actions. Brian Tracy suggests that the key to success is learning to monitor your mind like a janitor watches over a valuable property. Consciously choosing your thoughts is another essential practice. Whenever you notice a negative pattern, replace it with something positive and practical. For example, instead of thinking, "I'll never make it," change it to, "I'm in the process of learning and improving." It seems subtle, but this switch changes your approach to challenges. Brian Tracy calls this mental reprogramming, a process we can all begin right now. One of the most powerful tools is the conversation with the future self. Whenever you are faced with a decision, ask, what would myself in 5 years want me to do today? This perspective helps you align your daily choices with your long-term goals. Imagine that you are trying to save money, but you feel the temptation to spend it on something superfluous. Ask your future self if this expense makes sense. This practice creates a bridge between the present and your dreams. Additionally, creating daily rituals is a practical way to strengthen your discipline. This could include something as simple as writing down 3 things you're grateful for every night or reviewing your list of goals weekly. Brian Tracy suggests that these small rituals create a solid foundation for a balanced and productive life. They anchor your mind and keep you on track even on challenging days. With these tools in hand, you can start shaping your mind in a practical and accessible way. But for all of this to work, it is essential to learn to manage a crucial element: your emotions. After all, how can you control your mind without first balancing the feelings that move it? Emotions are like the wind, invisible but incredibly powerful. They can be a gentle breeze that guides us in the right direction or a hurricane that drags us into chaos. Controlling the expression of these emotions is a skill that few master, but which makes all the difference. Brian Tracy reinforces that emotional stability is one of the greatest demonstrations of personal strength, something that inspires confidence in others and in ourselves. Imagine a moment of anger. Have you ever gotten carried away and said something you didn't mean to, only to regret it later? This lack of control can undermine relationships, harm opportunities, and even shake your self-confidence. On the other hand, by learning to pause before reacting, you not only avoid damage, but also convey maturity and balance. A practical example is the technique of taking a deep breath and counting to 5 before responding in tense situations. This pause is often enough to transform an impulse into a considered response. Keeping your feelings private, especially in delicate situations, can be a strategic advantage. It's not about suppressing emotions, but about choosing the right moment and way to express them. Think of a leader facing a crisis. If he despairs in front of the team, he conveys insecurity. But if he stays calm, the team trusts him, even if internally he is also worried. Brian Tracy calls this commanding calmly, a skill everyone can develop. An interesting example is using a journal to process intense emotions. When you feel angry, frustrated, or anxious, write about it. Describe what you felt, why you felt it, and what you could do differently next time. This practice not only releases emotional weight, but also helps you identify patterns and triggers. You realize, over time, that many negative reactions can be avoided by better understanding your own emotions. Another important point is to understand that uncontrolled emotions are often born from unrealistic expectations. Have you ever been frustrated because something didn't go as planned? It's normal, but Brian Tracy teaches that accepting the unexpected as part of life helps us deal better with challenges. For example, instead of getting irritated by the traffic, take advantage of this moment to listen to an audiobook or reflect on the day. Turning frustration into opportunity is a practical form of emotional control. Cultivating empathy is also a powerful way to balance emotions. When someone irritates you, ask yourself, what is this person going through to act like this? This does not justify inappropriate behavior, but it helps prevent you from reacting impulsively. Empathy opens up space for more rational and constructive responses, and this is a skill that strengthens both your relationships and your internal stability. By mastering your emotions, you become someone who not only navigates life's challenges, but does so masterfully. This emotional stability is the foundation for rational decisions, focus, and of course, a more disciplined mind. And so, we come to the final piece of this puzzle: how all of these practices connect to create a stronger, more balanced life. Now that you've discovered the power to dominate your mind, the question remains, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to continue allowing negative thoughts and lack of control to dictate the rhythm of your life? Or are you willing to take the first step towards transformation? Remember, it's not what you know that changes your life, but what you do with what you know. Imagine what it would be like to have mental clarity, unwavering focus, and the ability to make decisions that truly take you to where you want to be. This is not a distant dream. It is a reality within your reach, as long as you are willing to put into practice what you learned here. Ask yourself, what small adjustments can I make today to start shaping my mind and my life? The path to overcoming yourself begins with simple and consistent actions. How about starting now? Take a pen and paper and write down a goal you want to achieve. Then apply one of the tools you learned here, whether it's daily focus, self-observation, or talking to your future self. Make no mistake, the secret to success lies in small daily habits, not drastic changes. And, of course, I want to hear from you. What stops you from taking that first step? Reply in the comments and share your experience. After all, we are all on this journey of growth together, and your story may inspire someone else to start too. If you like this content and want to continue learning how to master your mind and become stronger, subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications. Don't miss the opportunity to transform your life with powerful insights like these. Your mind is your greatest ally. It's time to use it to your advantage.